and the threat of war with Iran keeps saber rattling against us and keeps needling us and saying, I'm glad you guys are going down in flames. I mean, you know, a lot of people are angry about that, and it's the election time. But you know, with all that being said, you know, we need to believe in our leaders. And so when we're talking about politics and we see you going toe-to-toe with your opponent, a lot of people wonder about negative campaigning. You know, and it's kind of like who started it first, and then after a while it's like, I don't even remember. And you know, these state representative races are notorious for hardcore. When your opponent ran against Gene Seaman, and Gene Seaman was the incumbent, they exchanged some good blows, and Seaman gave as good as he got. One of the areas that they hit your opponent on was taking money from trial lawyers. A lot of money, you know.
A lot of money, yeah, a lot of players.
And he slammed back at you and saying you took money from insurance companies. How do you resolve that, or what's your side of it?
Well, in the political campaign this time, I'm not my opponent. That was a different race. But from 2006 to 2008, I mean, my opponent has taken quite a bit of lawyer money. I mean, you and I both know that. From 2006 to 2008, it's a huge amount of money. The money that I've received from the insurance from campaign is not that in that category at all, from campaign contributions.
How much money are we talking?
Because
you know, we're throwing out a lot of figures nowadays in the media and everything.
Absolutely.
I want to hear the money.
Yeah, we're going to have to. The best way to do it is you have to go back to your campaign finance reports, and we had one that was filed July, and we had one that was just filed, and I haven't categorized, but I can sure do it, and I'll give it to you.
More than 100 grand?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I can tell you that his lawyer money is more than that.
Okay.
And I can tell you that on the lawyer money, it's a lot more than that. But you know, in Texas, which the public may not know, it's not like federal government. Federal, there's a $2,300 limit per person. Texas, there is no limit.
That's what I heard. Well, wait, the judicial races and stuff.
Judicial, yes.
But as far as the state reps, my understanding is the sky's the limit is the amount you can take.
Exactly. I mean, you could, and it leads to the issue, which you're going to hear next year on two different issues. Do we have campaign finance limits in Texas? And since you brought up judicial, are we going to look at selection of judges? So they kind of go hand in hand when you talk about campaign finance, because judge elections have a different rule than the state representative election.
Well, let me bring that up. I'm glad you brought up the judge election, because our commander-in-chief has said, you know, lame duck, I'm still walking, you know, and I'm getting all these federal judges in there that I want to get in there. Now, this is, as you said, when you have a Republican-controlled administration or executive branch, they're going to get in more conservative judges, go figure, right, for the most part. And, you know, here in Texas, we're talking about elected judges. And I don't know if getting the state judges elected is the way to go, or appointments, but to me, it's like if you're in a Republican-controlled area, you got a bigger chance of getting a Republican judge.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And conversely, if you've got a Republican-controlled that are appointing appointees or making those appointments, and you have a Republican-controlled state in there, well, you're going to get, what's the difference?
Well, I can talk more about the state.
Yeah, let's talk about the state.
But let's talk about the state. Right now we have an election process for judges, and it's basically you run as a Republican, you run as a Democrat, an Independent, or even a Libertarian on the judges. There has been issues throughout many, many years. Do we continue the election process? Do we do an appointed process, or we do what they call a retention process, where you either get appointed or elected, and then you have an election on whether you keep them or not. And then the issue is, do you run as a party, or do you just run as a person? My own view is I think we should take the partisanship out of judicial races.
I agree.
I think that the party politics is secondary. It should be the individual. I mean, most people want to go into the courtroom and you want to feel the judge is independent and shouldn't be having to go through he or her, the campaign finance, raising money. I think the more independent we can make them. And I'm certainly open to a retention or appointment process, because I think that we need to look at the process. And many states have. I know, you know, Missouri has a system like that. and we as lawyers look at that. But we do need to take a look at that, and we do need to get the public's involvement in it. But the real issue to me is, let's address it. We've talked about this issue for many years, and nobody brings it to the front burner. And I think judicial selection process is important, and let's go out there and do it. I'm probably going to be somebody that supports change of the present system. I've told you I think that nonpartisanship is good, and I'm open to looking at retention systems and appointment systems.
Well, we got 2 minutes left, and what I usually do at this juncture when we're finishing up and wrapping up the show is, number one, thank you for being on.
Great to be here.
And the last 2 minutes, the floor is yours. Whatever you want to tell the voters out there or educate the public, it's all yours on your closing argument.
Well, that's good. Thank you for the closing argument.
You bet.
You know, I want to tell you thanks for inviting me, and to the listening audience all over the area. I hope what you've learned is a little bit about me. My whole hope in this campaign is that people get to know Todd Hunter as Todd Hunter, not as a Republican, not as a lawyer, not as a former lobbyist, but I want you to know who I am. And just so everybody knows, I'm married. I have 3 children, and my daughter's in public school right now, so I have that built in, those public issues, public education issues, which I'm getting a great education. I've been in the coastal bend for 30 years. I've been in South Texas, all over practicing law, and South Texas is a wonderful place and has been wonderful to me. And my message to everybody is that whether you're conservative or liberal, you're independent, you're Republican, Democrat, or a libertarian, I want your vote. I want to be your state representative for District 32, for Aransas, Calhoun, San Patricio, and Nueces counties, because my seniority will make a difference, my education in the legislature will make a difference, and it's time to bring things back here. Let's make this a positive for South Texas. I want to see higher education boom. I want to see public education boom. But I also want to make sure that we bring in some activities on the economic side that work. High appraisals don't work. High taxes don't work. My experience, I think we can fix it. And you know what? If we take a positive view, we'll get positive law.
Well, very well said. And you can learn more about Mr. Hunter at electtoddhunter.com. And what's the number if, and I always ask this of whether they're Democrat or Republican, Libertarian, Independent that come out of the show, if people want to help, they want to put up signs, they want to volunteer, they want to block walk for you, what's the number they can reach you at?
Call me at 361-949-TODD, T-O-D-D.
Like it.
361-949-TODD.
And your right hand is Steve Ray.
That's
I
right.
want to thank him for coordinating this.
Great.
And now Steve can be reached at what number?
Same number, 361-949-TODD. That's Todd.
And if you're not around, Steve Ray, your right hand's going to be there. We're probably going to air this here at the end of the week on the 9th or 10th and run that. And we also have asked your opponent to come out again.
Sure.
He had a conflict schedule. Perhaps he could come out. But if y'all would be interested down the road, maybe we could set up a debate before all is said and done, perhaps. But at least y'all have had the equal opportunity. I hope I have been fair with you.
You've been fair, and I thank you and your audience, and it's great to be here.
All right, well, thank you. And tune in next week. We'll have another either political or legal or community activist sort of guest, and we thank you. San Antonio, Corpus, Laredo, thank you very much. Thanks to all our sponsors appearing on the screen, and especially the people out there. I encourage you to get out there and register and vote, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. Get out there and vote. Register now, because now more than ever, it's more important. I know we're in an economic crisis. We all have got our worries and our problems, but let's not forget that we can't give up our right to vote. So get out there, get involved, and stay tuned. Thank you, and God bless.